Yo, what is up? How we doing this morning, chat? Ooh, we like that. Let's add a tripod in there. Just finished your third hour of DSR, and it's been crazy for today. You making money? You making fat stacks? About time? Yeah, I'm sorry. My, one second, I can hear myself. Okay, my dad, that I was telling you guys about, he has that macular degeneration and has difficulty seeing things. He's going on a trip and he's leaving tomorrow, and he wanted some help going getting some new clothes because I got to the root of it. Apparently, his brother said, "You're retired. You got money. Why don't you dress nicer?" I guess my dad's brother said that to him the last time he was there. So I guess that's been living rent free in my dad's head. So I took him out shopping this morning. I realized that I won't have time this evening to do it, so I was like, "Fuck, I'll do it before I start my stream and then just stream later." Okay, what do we do? What do we do? Ooh, some more cheap courages. I like that. I like 26. I guess we go back out to Ash. Ooh, I need to restart my game, I can tell. I'm gonna grind off Arsha today because every time I grind Ash on Arsha, I don't know what it is, I get so few fragments. But every time I grind off Arsha, it's so much better. I might have said off Arsha twice, but I meant on Arsha the first time. There's an Arsha curse for Ash. And I think Medozin said at some point he wanted to grind some, I know! It was unfortunate, so I'm on my way to go pick up my dad. I had to myself and my wife had to stop somewhere briefly, so I decided to check my phone. And I saw that right when I was supposed to start, the pig cave opened. And then as soon as I get home, it closes. It's like, you cocksucker, god damn it. But that's alright, my dad's far more important than making sure I get some bacon. Yo, what's up, Joximus? didn't even check to see how we did last night. Oh. Are these still min price? Yeah. Except those guys. The life ones aren't. I'll just let them there keep piling up, hey there, brother. Oh, you know what we need to do too before I get started? Is I should do my Pit of the Undying. I actually forgot to do it yesterday. Let's restart my client first. Kudum. Back. Oops. Oh, I was gonna do Pit of the Undying. Fuck. Completely forgot.
Have you ever had a dream that...
Wait, did they reverse the order of those quests? So you could just spam R to get the highest one now? About goddamn time.
Big Stinky.
Big stinky indeed. No, I'm not trying to throw those away. Why the hell is it acting like I'm trying to throw those away? Oh shit, what did I just do that for? Fuck it, we commit, we full send it. It's gonna take a little bit longer now. Mm-hmm. They start when it starts, they finish when it finishes. Oh, what's up, Monty? Want to do some rocks? I, as a matter of fact, do want to do some rocks. Do we have a party or? I do have the merchant ring, yeah. Right up there. Need one more DPS. I wonder if, I don't know. I mean, I spent the average amount of luck getting the Olin's piece. It just, I happened to spend most of the time when Olin's was good. I didn't do it when there was a high opportunity cost, so you could, in a sense, call it lucky for that. My underwater piece I got at Abyssal Sakraya. Some people would consider that lucky, but I definitely went crazy over the average with getting one, but ended up getting two. Not that I need two pieces. Paddock definitely got lucky. Crypt definitely got lucky. Hash definitely got lucky. So, in general, I'd consider myself lucky with it. Oh, fuck, man. I guess I better get this set up. Should have an Olin's preset set up now. I don't have a power there. Oh, that's what it is. That's right. If we're doing Olin's, we do one adamantine. Oh, yeah, wait. No. That's right. Bing, bang, and then one giant. Oh, Olin's is so nice now. You should be happy. Let's do a new way of doing this text. We'll do... What do we have? One, 229.2 plus 1059. Oh, I should also add these in. What do we have? I did not see the Microsoft announcement, no. We'll just do it this way. It'll be easier to update it. Me pick server? Well, let's do Balin 06. There's a drop rate buff here. Do we have a third? They're doing a handheld, but the kicker is that they're designing a slimmed down version of Windows 11 with all the bloat and shit gone to boost gaming performance. The hope is that this extends to desktops as well. Oh, that's huge. Two, 4, 3, 8. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh! I feel like that's too much. Too much on the screen. Maybe I just get rid of that. $1 million crown goal? No. Oh, there it is. That's what that was doing then. Boom, boom, boom. How much do they charge for manslaughter in Canada? I think it depends on circumstances.
Good morning, LA Dada Doobie. Good morning, LA Dada Doobie.
Yo, what's up? I don't know. Do you really think why are you asking? I would just like to inform you that If you're doing any thinking about it at all, it's not manslaughter anymore. That's premeditated. Now the real question is it first, second, or third degree? But oh. Oh shit, there's already someone in this. Is there 4 of them there? You could do one of the higher rotations. Could do some Solaire. How much that? If there's anybody at the top middle spot. Actually, not sure how to get up there from here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, if you guys want to do this upper spot, it looks open. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, fucking Choice is here. Okay, that spot's taken. Jeez, maybe we killed Choice. Wait, what guild is Choice in? Or was he just flagged up hitting somebody? Oh, he's just flagged up hitting somebody. Anybody want to kill Choice in his kitten? Balin 06. Why are you so angry? What is your problem? It's just a video game. Calm down. It is not that serious. This spot's open if you want to hit this one. Kind of don't like standing around though. If you guys don't want to do these rotations, we could swap channels. But this one has a drop buff on it. But one sec, I got an ad, so I won't know what you're saying. Fuck! Get trolled, aren't I? You're good now? Okay. This spot's open on Balin 06 if you want to do this. If you don't like this spot. Well, I'm Zethan. If you want to just message me. Or I can message you. And then I could just, yeah, invite me and invite the other guy, and I can summon you both to me. Oh, there we go. Oh, this guy's a big problem. This guy's a big problem. I'm so clever, chat. He's in the restroom? Okay. Are you sure? If he's in the restroom, he's running around. That man's pissing and playing at the same time. Jesus. He's using his wiener as a joystick. Oops. Oh, shit. We better swap, huh? Okay, we got our own set up. Shit, did I do... Okay, that explains everything. Everything's Gucci. I burned my lip on a chimichanga yesterday. Now I taste blood sometimes when the skin peels, but the air-fried chimichangas are good. Well, this is the thing, right, about an air-fried chimichanga, is you can actually have it and not burn your mouth. The trick is to actually wait for it to cool down. You know, you don't always have to burn your mouth. That's not part of the chimichanga experience. Oh my goodness, today's gonna be a day, isn't it? Spelled chimichanga? Oh shit. Okay, well apparently I know chimichanga right. My fairy just really lights up my life. Chimichanga is fun to say. Yeah, how many of you in chat decided to say it just because you read it? You couldn't help it, you had to say it at least once. I bet damn near every one of you. Oh my goodness, our party's already popping off. 2 Debo earrings? We're 4 minutes in. And my loot scroll's not even running. Shit. Surely eastern border is better node zone? What do you mean? Week-long 1v1? Oh. I don't know. I thought last night was perfectly fine. I had a lot of fun. I mean, we go in expecting to lose, right? Digi is the stronger guild. There's no mystery behind that, but it's how you get better, fighting stronger guilds. I had fun, though. I had no complaints about last night's fight. You'll always have people cope on either side when they lose. Like, there was definitely some cope in Digi on last Saturday, or I guess the Saturday before that. But any rational person is just like, okay, yeah, you have good fights, you have bad fights. Either way, it's a lot of fun. The fights that are close, at least. Or the hell of a lot better than the fucking shit stomps some fights end up being, you know? The fight the day before was fucking nonsense. Like, I don't know what we were thinking trying to base trade when our base was already, like, our flame towers were already gone. Like, what kind of shitty idea was that? It was fun until that happened. I don't know who decided to do that. That was not a good idea. Ended up making the fight way shorter than it should have been. Death Rattle, Hail Mary? Not really. It wasn't even that. It was just a bad call. Our defense lead had himself muted the whole time. And then after the fight, was like, what the fuck's going on? Why isn't there any communication? Defense lead was like, oh, I didn't realize I was muted. It's like, okay, well, that probably explains why they didn't realize our flame towers were down. Kind of nonsense that not a single other person could speak up that was on defense, but what are you going to do, right? But it's stupid shit like that that only gets ironed out if you just do it over and over again. People gotta learn, right? But yeah, I have lots of fun. Don't need to win to have fun. If you need to win to have fun, then you're not about the fight, you know? I was only half paying attention for that golem. I don't even know if we beat the iframe. I don't think we did. I know I definitely did not do an optimal DPS rotation there. Too busy yapping. We did? Oh, hell yeah. No, I look forward to this, though. This is so much more fun. I like this a lot better because there'll be more of a battle of attrition, right? When you just do one coordinated fight, and then like it ends up being this big ordeal that people are handpicking, making sure that everybody at the top is there and everybody at the bottom gets cut. I feel like those fights are more boring when they're once in a while. I like the idea of just like every day running it back, running it back, running it back. Seeing which members, this is good for both guilds too, right? Seeing which members actually have the stamina to be there and support their guild regularly. And the ones who are just there to collect a paycheck. And if the fights go on over and over, they just stop showing up, right? It's easy for people to pretend like they're committed when they only have to show up once in a while. Because there's only a meaningful fight once in a while, but when there's like regularly a more meaningful fight, it'll really help out weed out the leeches in either guild, right? So there's no doubt there's people in both guilds who are just trying to get their Voltarian. Bag Chaser's out, that's right. But no doubt there's people in both like Digi and Pico and Black Rose and Vega that are just there trying to get their Voltarian. I gave you an idea? Yo, okay, that means it's my idea if I gave it to you. Inception, baby. Is it a good idea though? Wait, let's let's figure that out first. Is it a good idea or a bad idea? Because if it's a bad idea, you could have it. We'll see if it materializes. Ooh. Oh, frickin' I hate it when Spearbolt does that. That's so annoying. This happened a couple times with Snake back in the day too, like way back in the day, where like Snake was a castle sitting guild, would just do whatever, right? And then like when you're sitting in a castle, every guild, when you have 100, 150 people, there's going to be turnover, right? So no matter what, you can have slots opening up, and then you got to fill those slots, right? And when you're sitting in a castle the way Snake was, you'd end up having bag chasers just join. They're not interested in the hard fights. They're just trying to collect the bag, and that's it. So Snake would sit and chill. It would get inflated and bloated and fat with all these bag chasers. And then eventually the day would come where we would start getting zerged out, right? And that's when all the fat would get trimmed out, because all the people who couldn't handle a loss, that were just there chasing the bag, now that they were losing and no longer getting bags, they would leave. And the people who were actually there to fight would stay, right? And then you would trim the fat and get actual active members that are more into fighting in there. And then it would shape back up. Snake would eventually get back into the castle, because the multiple guilds trying to keep Snake out and rotate it eventually get tired of having to babysit each other, because they got to take turns making sure everybody has time in the castle. And then eventually Snake gets back in, and then the cycle continues, right? The cycle repeats. I like when you have these periods of just non-stop fighting, especially when there's losses involved. Especially when there's losses involved. Because that's when you learn the most, right? That's when you really know your strength. But you get rid of those bag chasers real quick. Oh, that one was so close. I didn't have my 100 for that. I feel like I should just lock my 100. I really don't need to be using it for anything else. I'm just going to lock it and make sure I use it for the golem. It's not really serving me much purpose for the ads. We'll see if it materializes. See? Hilo, you're pissing me off, because now I got to sit here wondering. I just want to know. God damn it, I got FOMO. I want to know what the idea is. The boat. Oh my goodness. Now I'm scared. You guys don't have the custom cooldown slots yet? Oh, that's annoying. I really like the way I have my custom cooldown set up now. I kind of want to lower them a little bit on the screen, though. I feel like they're a little bit higher. I think there's a reason why for that, though. I actually want to bring the other health bar back up on my screen and get rid of this thing in the top left. Maybe I'll do that later. They're in the edit UI, right? So you gotta first make them visible, but then you go into your skill window and go to skill cooldown slots, and you can assign skills to 20 different of them. Yeah. I figured I had a hard time updating the on-screen shit when it was like all piled into one. I'd have to be like, okay, I gotta figure out how much costumes went up. I have to figure out how much my pile of crons went up, or how much my silver went up. This is gonna be just a lot easier doing it this way, having the two different values. Yeah, I had them like that for a long time. I don't mind them like that, but when they originally had these, they would fuck with any type of click to move you did, so that's why I didn't use them. But they, oh shit, it didn't absorb.
Have you ever had a dream
They ended up resolving that.
you can don't do skip don't do skip you wanna don't do skip you can don't do skip don't do skip you wanna don't do skip you can.
Because you still have hope for me. That's why. The value? I would get a 9800 X3D even in my situation if I had a choice. It really just depends what you're using it for, right? If you're just gaming, yeah, there's no reason to get a 9950 X3D. If you're gaming and doing like some content creation or just work, those extra cores can end up saving you a ton of time if you're rendering shit, right? You gotta think with some things that take a long time to render, like if you're rendering longer videos and shit, that shit could take hours, and if having a beefier processor means that instead of taking 12 hours, it only takes 6 hours, that doubles your productivity, right? You can pump out twice as much work in the same amount of time. That's huge. At that point, the 9950 will pay for itself. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's time to move forward. That was kind of the same thing. That first leap is expensive because new memory, new motherboard. But you'll be good for a while. Desperate needs buffs, yep. There's some sages out there who are still struggling, so clearly we need more buffs. How many sages do we even have in the top 100 now? Let's see. 1657. 12 still. Okay. I mean, it's not as crazy as the 22 Zerker season. No, I highly doubt there's going to be any conversations about balance or anything like that. Like I said, I can't talk about what I do know that we're going to talk about. And I don't know of the things I know what I'm allowed to talk about. I'll find out all of that after. I personally don't think Awakened Sage is... I don't know. This is a very uncompetitive season too. It's actually surprising how few people are playing. This is absolutely a charity season. Right, because top 100 is obviously going to be a lot easier with 1,000 people playing than 2,000. I don't even think there's 1,000 people actively pushing though. I'd be surprised if there was 200 people actively pushing. Because like I'll throw up like Norelio, YoFam Steve, Corgi, Kelb, Armin, like all the people who are streaming their AOS games, and it's crazy just looking at the names. You're just seeing the same names in all the games, and like if somebody's sitting there waiting in queue, you just got to sit there and wait until one of those games finishes, and then they squeeze in, and then someone else has to wait in queue. It is a very uncompetitive season, that is for sure. Yeah, you gotta watch those insta queues. When you click and it immediately pops up, you gotta be careful with those, because it might be lower elo people who have been waiting for somebody, and then because you queued up and it says, okay, they waited long enough time to throw someone higher in their game. Either that or it's the alternative, and it's trying to, it quickly throws you in a higher elo game. But usually when those queues pop within that first second, it's one or the other. It's either putting you in a queue lower than you should be in, or a queue higher than you should be in. But if you're already up high, then that usually means it's the alternative. I was talking to somebody who does a lot of, from what it sounds like, statistic work, and he was saying that Solaire and BDO would actually be significantly better. And this made a lot of sense if you didn't actually know your rating, and if you didn't know other people's ratings. Like if all of that was hidden until the end of the season. But right now, like the way it's designed, people avoid the beginning of the season, people avoid the end of the season, and most of the people just play in the middle, quickly try to lock things in so they can actually noob stomp people, right? And then they lock in their rating, and then they just kind of coast for the rest. But if you didn't, and they try to dodge queues, right? Like they'll see, okay, well, I'm this far above someone else, so I don't need to queue and risk my rating because I know I have so much higher than them, right? All I got to do is just keep watching games, wait to see if they start getting close to me, then I know I have to start queuing. Where if all of that shit was hidden, then they would never know how close or far people are from them. You won't know how close you are to the top or the bottom. You won't have people dodging certain queues. Well, I mean, I guess you'll still have people dodging some queues for streamers, but I feel like that is such a good idea to make the mode more competitive and get more people to have a sense of urgency to keep playing. Yo, what's up, Joe Bell? I don't know. I want to run that by like Armin and Divios and some people that I know are big into the PvP scene, not just in video, but in other games, competitive scene in other games as well, and see what they think of that. Because maybe if I am asked to give some feedback, that could be part of it. But I'm definitely not as much of a competitive-oriented player as those guys, so it's definitely something I would like to run by them first. Oh, the 5 trill at the bottom is how much your mother weighs in pounds. Kiki. Wait, didn't you just... Wait, I say that's not good, because people get a dopamine to see their rank. And then you say, when you don't know you're number one, your motivation is high to push. Those are two conflicting statements. That is the whole purpose of what I said, is if people don't know, they will always be trying to push. And the more people that are playing, the more competitive it'll be. People just sitting there, coasting because they know they have a 300-point lead over somebody makes it less competitive. It'll also help get people off their smurfs too, right? If they don't know where their main is, they'll spend less time on their smurf. And it's a bigger issue them hopping on their smurfs as well, because now they're pushing other people down while their main just kind of sits and holds that top spot. Well, whether you see it or not, you will still, if a player wants it, they'll want it, whether they see it or not. If you have to see it to want it, then you don't really want it. I think that's a ridiculous claim. That you have to see it to want it. You'll see it at the end of the season, right? When it actually matters. But I think it'll make the season more interesting throughout the whole season. If people didn't know. Like, how many times have we seen people in different streams being like, hey, can you show me the rating of X person or Y person? Because that person plays the same class as them, right? And they don't want to queue unless they know that person's getting close to them. The hell killed my horse? I just realized my horse is dead. Dude, I shouldn't absorb there. Well, that's the thing, is suggestions are just that. That doesn't mean PA's gotta do it. They obviously disagree when it comes to Shy. Oh, why are you doing that to yourself, Cavell? It automatically goes to your... straight to your in-game mail? What? Why the hell wouldn't we have that anywhere else? I think the nice thing about records and stuff not being shown too is I think a lot of people don't like to lose, or they don't like to have something to be measured by as well. I think it would get more people queuing, but I think some people are like, well, I don't want to play because I don't want to do bad and it'll embarrass me. When they should just, like, and because of that, they will never get better. If Divios pops by in chat later, I'll run it by him. Otherwise, maybe I'll type it out to him later if I have time. No matter what you do, though, there will always be some people that get upset. If you never do anything because some people will get upset, then you never do anything. It kind of goes to the phrase, in the process of trying to make everybody happy, you make nobody happy, right? So... the real question is this better for the game in general? I personally think so, but like I said, I'm not as competitive of a player as people like Divios and Armin and such, so this is definitely something before if I were prompted to give some feedback, it's definitely something I would want to run by them first to see if they're on the same page, because if they're not, or maybe they can poke some holes into it, some angles that I didn't think of, then... you know, I'd hate for advocating changing something that I'm definitely not as involved in as they are. Yeah, well, just take a look at GVGs, right? They're the prime example of that in the past. The absolute perfect example. Guilds would get this ego, right? Where they don't want to declare war or fight anybody, where they would have a negative war score. That's probably the main reason why a lot of war decks aren't up right now. But also, like, even when there was the one-sided deck system, members of guilds would leave if they were losing, because they didn't want to feed the war score. Either because, for two different reasons. Either A, there's social pressure within their guilds not to feed, because there's some people in the guild, especially in leadership, who it matters a lot to them that they win. So if there's members in their guild that are feeding, they will kick those members. Or make fun of them or whatever. So it makes those people, if they're losing, they end up leaving an open world fight. Which is nonsense. That stops your members from getting better, right? They shouldn't leave. If they're losing, they should be more encouraged to stay. Like, obviously, if they're getting completely shit-stomped and there's no hope at all, then obviously, you know when there's no chance to win and then leave. But otherwise, it's good practice to get better, right? Losses are typically where you lose, where you learn the most. But even if there isn't that social pressure from your peers, a lot of people still don't want to feed because they just don't want to be that guy, right? Even if there is no pressure from their guild members, they don't want to be that guy where even if the conversation comes up, they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so was fighting him and he lost a bunch. So, like, I even think, like, GVGs would be a lot more popular if there was no war score. The thing is, in my experience in BDO, people don't care about that. When it comes to an actual war where people care about beating each other, it's more about what you're fighting over. Kicking people out of grind spots and, well, in the past, feeding them to mobs. That's what mattered to them. And the war score would deter people. People wouldn't consider it as much of a victory just by having a winning war score. They considered it a victory when they made the other guild leave the fight. But ultimately, if you want a more robust PvP environment, you want people who just stick around and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. Otherwise, if your goal is to make people leave, then you're not about to fight. It would be more interesting. Like I said, I'm not saying get rid of all the ratings. Like, you can have an end of season rating for Solaire, or maybe even maybe a middle ground of have it update every week at the end of the week, like during the server reset. Maybe it doesn't have to be just once at the end of the season. But I feel like there's far more people dodging or just avoiding queuing. I'm a solid mid. Yeah. And keep it up, you'll be even higher. It's hard these days though, right? I used to be a solid mid too. And then as of March 20th, I became crazy. That was something clicked in my brain. It had nothing to do with the patch notes that all of a sudden I turned into a god. Well, that's the thing, is it wasn't just PvP buffs for Sage, or PvE buffs. No, for some reason, nobody remembers this, but as soon as Solaire ended, they did PvP buffs first, for like Sage exclusively, and then they did PvE buffs, which was exactly what I was saying that they shouldn't do. PvE buffs, it makes sense to do PvE buffs first, because they overlap with PvP when you're doing things like faster animations, shorter cooldowns, additional protections, right? Obviously those overlap with PvP. And I think it's important to do the PvE buffs first, and then after that, figure out where everybody lies PvP-wise, and then make the minor PvP buffs after. But Sage got the exact opposite, where they did the PvP buffs first, then they did a whole bunch of PvE buffs to a ton of classes, and it just pushed Sage too far. And when the nerfs come, they'll be excessive? Yeah. I'm worried about that. I would be perfectly fine if they just undid that set of PvP changes. Just bring us back to where we were. Let us keep the PvE buffs. Get rid of the PvP buffs. Because I personally think we were perfectly fine in PvP before. I did well in Node War, capped and uncapped. I managed to get top 100 in Solaire. I considered myself a mid player, but I managed to get top 100 in Solaire back when Sage was harder. It was possible. There were Sages doing it every season. We definitely did not need as much as we got. There was more like some minor bug fixes and stuff that I would have liked to have seen. Putting the knockback on Impaling Flash was so much worse. Like when they were originally supposed to just put a forward guard on a Taurus Spear. That was supposed to be our new protected CC. And I thought that was going to be busted. I was like, god damn, that opens up so many opportunities. That ability is going to be so much more useful. Flows into Divine Executioner nicely. You can have a double KD combo. If you pair that up with like a Spearbolt core, it's going to be kind of sick. But I never thought in my wildest dreams that they would end up giving us something that's basically like a block jump knockback. Well, the protections on Sage aren't even that bad. We have just a ton of forward guards. This is what we want, is classes with more forward guards. The biggest issue is how much we're pressuring people with our movement damage abilities. It's not a big problem that Upsurge hits hard. When you have to commit to an ability that just does damage, but you're stationary while doing it, that's not a problem. The problem is Aftershock, Spearbolt, Impaling Flash, Judgment. These abilities are all fully protected movement that also do really good damage. It's like, what the hell were you thinking? Yeah, the thing about the forward guard of Taurus Spears, it's something that can be punished, right? Impaling can't be punished. The thing that makes it craziest is it's like the ultimate grab punish. Because I feel most of the time I catch grab classes is when they're trying to grab, and then it's like legit one of your best abilities to dodge a grab, and it'll CC them while they do it. It's like an insane anti-grab ability. Yeah. That's also making the problem seem worse than it actually is. And I'm not trying to justify how strong Sage is. I think it is too strong. But the high damage environment that Solaire is definitely making it appear significantly worse in that environment. How's it? Same old. Another day. Another day is smoking rocks, trying to work towards being done with our last artifact. We are at 25. We are a quarter of the way done. Oh yeah, for sure, right? People always only focus on what's at the top. And it allows those classes, like Hash is definitely broken right now. Owegu is definitely still broken, right? Deadeye, definitely still very strong. But it allows these classes to point at stage and be like, nah, they're the problem. This might be just a new standard that they're pushing everybody up to, though, right? Like, no matter what, you're always going to have a class at the top. You're never going to have the game perfectly balanced where everybody's at an exactly even playing field, right? There's always going to be a class that's the class, the it class. But maybe this is something they're aiming for. Maybe this is why we didn't see, like, massive nerfs to some of those other classes I just mentioned. Or even buffs to some of those classes. Like, Awaken Hash was another class that, like, Hash did well last season. So it's kind of crazy that they buffed it more, right? Oh, Owegu is still definitely a great class, yes. It's just you got to remember, right, when there's a new flavor of the month, all the people who are flavor of the month chasers just swap to the new flavor. And right now that's Sage. And as soon as something gets a little bit better than Sage, you will see like 80% of the new Sages disappear because now they're going to be on that class. That's just the way it is, right? Whatever class is the it class is always going to have a significantly higher population. You got to remember that of the people who are actually loyal to their class because they love it no matter what, no matter how strong or weak it is, there's a relatively low population of each one of those classes. Because, like, take a look at how many classes and specs there are, right? We got, like, what? 25 different classes? I think, like, 54 different specs. I'm trying to think ever since Deadeye. Deadeye was only one spec, though. I think we're at, like, 56 different specs, right? So, think about it. If you go to the Steam charts say we have about a 12,000 player population. It's probably a 1-to-1 ratio with the website as well. Here, let me take a look. BDO Steam charts. I think these days it's about equaled out the amount of people playing from the website and it's 18,000, 19,000. The amount of people playing on the website versus the amount of people playing on the client, or sorry, Steam, are probably about equal these days. So about 20,000 peak players, right? You divide that. Let's assume that there's an even population distribution, which is obviously not the case. But think about that, right? So you got 56. Sorry, just a second. Let me focus on this golem before I start opening up my calculator. No, we're talking about NA specifically, Sheriff. Okay, let me pull up my calculator. So, we estimate we have about 38,000 peak players. Divide that by 56 different specs. That's only like 700 people playing of each spec, assuming that there was an even distribution, right? There is no way every single person is playing PvP. I would argue that the PvP population of the game is generously 10% of the players. And I think that's very generous. Well, NAEU. Steam would be NAEU. So, so yeah, I mean, that's like 68 people of each class across both region, of each spec, sorry, across each region. Or if we assume that NA and EU had an equal population, and EU definitely outpopulates NA, but for the sake of just easy math, we'll pretend that it's equal. That means you have like 40 players that enjoy PvPing on each spec. That actually seems high. I can't think of, like, prior to Awakening Sage being busted in the new flavor of the month, we had like 10 Awakened Sage mains on NA. I need to save the notepad. Where the hell is it? Is it in settings? Function? There it is. Right? We talked about this. Like, this was the list of Awakening Sages prior. Right? These were the Awakened Sages that I considered Sage mains. They were always on it. That was NA right there. Like, but yeah, whatever class is the flavor of the month, you're always going to see way, way, way more of them. Take a look when Suck Megu was busted. Look how many people were on it. Take a look when Suck Zerker was busted, how many people were on it. Take a look when Awakened Drac, how many people were on it. Take a look when Deadeye was busted. See, Deadeye is a little bit more of an interesting one where there wasn't as much of a representation as a normal flavor of the month because Awegu was nuts that season too. So there was a bit of a split between the two. But yeah, when a class isn't flavor of the month, you're not going to see nearly as many people on it. And those people will just constantly chase whatever the new flavor is. Like, all of these new Sages, I don't consider any of them Sage mains. They're Sage enjoyers. We will find out if they're Sage mains if they stick with Sage once Sage gets nerfed. That's when they get to graduate to a Sage main. Like, at this point, I'd definitely consider Norelio a Deadeye main. That man stuck with Deadeye even after the nerfs. If we're continuing, don't forget to rebuff. Oh, yeah, good call. Yeah. Deadeye's still a good grinder. It was just batshit broken for a while. Now it's probably like an A+ grinder instead of S++. Let's see. To be fair, he's stuck because he is still performing. Wait when you can enter top 50. Even when you're the best in the spec, that's when you're a main. I don't think performance is what makes you a main of the class or not. You don't have to perform at a certain threshold. I think what makes you a true class main is your commitment to the class. When you show that no matter how strong or weak the class is, you love it enough that you will continue playing it. That's what makes you a main of that class. Like, Neptunes, through and through, I respect the fuck out of the fact that that man refuses to play anything else. Meiwa is his main. And you definitely cannot make any argument different. Mainwa, yeah. Oh, he's stuck when he's performing and you can't enter top 50 when you're the best in the spec. Yeah. he's you know, maybe a little bit more evidence with Norelio is needed, but I think it's fair. I don't think it needs to be that serious. I mean, his other main, he could have very easily played Awaken stage this season too, but I think he wanted to fight the allegations of being a flavor of the month, and at that point, if he would have swapped to Awaken stage for this season, there would have been no fighting those allegations anymore. Between the fact of him hopping on, he was on Suck Sage when it was broken, and then when Suck Sage got nerfed, he hopped on Awaken Drac, and then he stuck with Awaken Drac until it got nerfed, and then he went back to Sage when Sage got overbuffed for a bit, and then he stuck
With it a little bit, and then Deadeye came out, and he immediately jumped on that. There's definitely a lot of evidence suggesting. Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with fucking around briefly on a new class or a class that's busted, especially when it's one class that you already played. Like, he's been a Suck Sage main for a while, right? So, like, obviously someone's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna mess around with that a little bit.
but let's see how busted it is. And sometimes it's just from like an investigative perspective as well, right? If one of your specs is busted, even if you don't want to play it, it's a good idea to fuck around with it a little bit. So when you are fighting it on your real main, you know what its strengths and weaknesses are, and it'll help you fight it better, right? This is part of the reason why whenever they release a new class, I always like to mess around with it for a week. I have no interest in making it my main. Who knows, maybe after playing it, I'll realize I enjoy it a lot more than I expected. But I originally have no interest in making it my main. It's mainly, I want to understand how the class moves, what its protections look like, what do its catches look like, right? And the best way to do that is to spend a week in its shoes. Yeah, Stuck Striker is a class that needs desperate love, PvP-wise. There is no doubt about that. I'd give Awaken... My top 3 classes that need love would be like just in general too, not even like in a specific environment, because there's some classes that perform well in certain environments but obviously fall off in others, right? But like Suck Velk, Awaken, Mewa, and Suck Striker, I think just in general are like 3 pretty down bad classes that I would put at the top of my list of classes that need some love. Yeah. And it's going to be hard because you're always going to have that overlap because they're both like between both Awakened and Suck Striker, they're both like these melee bruisers, right? So you're always going to have this overlap in play style that as long as one is stronger than the other one's going to be a ghost town. So I do think, and unfortunately this might ruin the class for actual Suck Striker mains. Maybe, maybe not. This is just me spitballing, not necessarily trying to say what would be best for you guys, so don't take it that way. But, like, what if they change Suck Striker into, like, this ranged Kamehameha type class, shooting balls of energy around? Because then the forward guards, the amount of forward guards and shit it has makes a lot more sense, right? And I'm not talking, like, super long range. I'm talking, like, a range, like, medium range, right? Maybe that would be, like, a cooler way to design Suck Striker so it had a different playstyle than Awakening. Like Awaken Corsair range? No, Awaken Corsair is definitely a longer range class. Kind of more like Awaken DK range. Yeah, it probably will stay like that forever. I can't imagine them doing that type of change to it. But I just think that would be kind of cool. And a good way to make it so there wasn't so much overlap between Awaken and Suck Striker. He is a good PvE class, for sure. Not insane, but what Striker has is comfort, right? It's a tankier class, and it's pretty easy to grind on. So I think adding spots to the game like they did with Orzekia is really good for classes like that. Because yeah, you can play a higher DPS class, but it's really sweaty because like with Awakening Sage, if I blink at the wrong time and all the mobs swipe at me at once, I'm dead. Where with Striker or Warrior, you don't have that issue. You're tanky enough to actually take a couple rounds of attacks. And that extra comfort means you don't have to spend as much time moving, so it helps it actually bridge some of the gap in damage that it might be missing compared to others. I think more difficult PvE content too is good for the game. When everything just feels like a meat grinder, like you're just dumping a bunch of shit in a blender and sitting there holding the button, it gets kind of boring, you know? I think when there's the risk of dying, it makes it significantly more exciting. But then that also raises the problem of like crystal availability. I have no issue with losing crystals, that it just costs me silver to get them back. But when you lose crystals and there's none on the market, that feels fucking miserable. I personally am kind of annoyed with how they did crystal restorations and that the fact that they monetized them. I really feel like they should have just had a recipe in game that you can use to refill your crystal restorations. They could have had like magical light stones, magical shards, crystallized despair. They could have had just like a bunch of stuff that needs more demand on it. Maybe even like the new primordial crystals, well, newish. I guess they're not really that new anymore. They could have had shit like that you combine it together to create a crystal restoration, right? So it still costs you in-game silver, but it's not something that you have to pull at your wallet. Hey, what's up, Belkia? Which classes do you think you need needs nerfs? In Solaire specifically, Awakening Sage. Awakening Sage is definitely high up for like Node War and Siege, so it could probably use a little bit of nerfs in that regard, but I don't think it's as overpowered outside of Solaire as it is in Solaire. But I think that they do need to bring back a little bit more skill expression to the class. Like, I personally liked the stamina management. It was like one of the best ways to figure out how good an Awakened Sage was like if you were an Awakened Sage fighting another Awakened Sage, seeing how well one could outstam the other was kind of like one of the biggest deals. Awakened Mystic? Yeah, Awakened Mystic is probably a little bit overtuned, but I don't see, like, once again, this is kind of just from Solaire. I don't see Awakened Mystics outperforming anywhere else in the game, so I don't know how much I would advocate for them. To me, like, maybe Solaire, just like the amount of damage that's in there is partially the problem. So that's why it's like, it's kind of hard, because like on one hand, yeah, like when you tunnel vision on a specific environment, it might seem like a class needs nerfs. But on the other hand, like, how's that class performing in every other environment? Like, if in the process of making it feel balanced in one environment, you make it feel useless in every other environment, that's not good for the class, right? So sometimes maybe it's just the environment that needs to be adjusted, not the class itself. A good example of that is grabs, right? So grabs are objectively weaker than they have ever been, but feel more mandatory than ever. Now, some of you might be asking, what do you mean, Zeth, by objectively weaker? Well, once upon a time, we had some grabs that were 7-second cooldowns, 8-second cooldowns that were fully protected. Now, every grab is 15 seconds or longer and unprotected. Objectively, they are designed weaker than they've ever been. But they feel more mandatory than ever. Grabs didn't feel as mandatory back then as they do now. So you gotta ask yourself, why is that? Well, it's because the environment has changed. Everybody is so protected these days that unless you're a class with a grab, it feels like some classes you just can't catch. So the problem isn't the grabs. Like when people are saying, well, this is everybody does grabs, right? The grabs need to be nerfed. It's like, well, maybe the grabs aren't the problem. Maybe it's the protections. Yeah. The thing is, though, just a blanket statement that they need to change more essays into forward guards can be very bad. That can actually make more classes even more busted, because not all forward guards or protections are the same. And I think Suck Striker is probably the perfect example of that. That class is like, it has to be so close to you that you can kiss it on the lips, but it has so many forward guards. And that forward guard just feels useless in a lot of cases because you have to get so close to people. Where classes like Awakening Sage, that's medium range, we have quite a bit of forward guards too. But because we're doing it for medium range and we're moving around so rapidly, it feels damn near impossible to get behind our forward guards. But the forward guard is constantly recovering while we're moving around, and you're not able to chip our health bar, right? Like your forward guard is proportional to your health bar in terms of tankiness. Whenever you do like a HP increase, DR increase, or evasion increase, it affects your forward guard proportionally. So having this rapidly recovering health bar, when you're constantly doing medium range and people can't get behind it, it makes the forward guard feel more powerful, right? So, like, some forward guards do need to become SAs, and some SAs need to become forward guards. Well, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of people, like, close-range classes that'll hate, like, things like Spiral Cannon on Striker, right? Because they'll do a spiral through your forward guard, and you gotta be close enough for them to get through you. If you're an Awakening Sage, I don't have to worry about that with Spiral Cannon, because they first have to get close enough to me to do the spiral. Otherwise, their spiral just lands them in front of me and it doesn't get through my forward guard, right? So, like, that's another example that, like, not all forward guards are the same. Some are definitely way more powerful than others, and some SAs are way more powerful than others. There's a lot of classes that are so close to melee that if you gave them a whole bunch of forward guards from SAs, they would just end up with a bunch of useless abilities that they now lock. That Stinky Battle Cry, yeah, that ability is a problem because it CCs on like every freaking tick of it. I think everybody can agree that that's nonsense. It wouldn't feel so bad if it didn't CC on every tick. Well, 10-second cooldown or not. I mean, Lightning Prison's a 10-second cooldown. Do you think it should stun on every single hit? What's goofy about a man yelling at you? I'll stop grabbing him too. True. Maybe it's for the immersion's sake. That's true. Without a core too. That's kind of a big deal. Your AP accuracy artifacts? Yeah, I know. I hope those come with the new region. We can approximate, too, how much AP they will have. It's easy to figure that out. I'll show you. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but right after this golem, I'll show you. Actually, I wonder if I still have the old artifacts. Probably have to look at Garmoth. Okay, Garmoth. Artifacts. Artifacts. Okay, so there was the all damage reduction artifacts before was 3, and the specific DR artifacts were 6, so it was double, right? And then these, wrong button, ended up jumping to 12. So they quadrupled over the all AP ones. But we never had all AP artifacts before. So you would actually have to first half the magic AP ones, so they would go from 4 down to 2, and then quadruple it. So they would be 8 AP if they had AP artifacts. And you would have to do the same thing with the accuracy ones. 8 AP per artifact, though, is still sick. That's 16 between the two of them, right? That is not a small amount of AP. That's like 2.
Hey!
God, why is that so loud?
Hey!
That was like 2. That's 3 crystals, right? Or I guess 2 human damage crystals. And then the accuracy ones would be, let's see. So 8 cut in half would be 4 times 4 would be 16. Well, I guess I could just double it. So it'd be 16 accuracy per artifact. 16 per artifact, 16 accuracy per artifact, or 8 AP. I'd take it. I'd run them. I'd run them over the Decky artifacts. was a fast goal in that time. Holy fuck. I think it's fine. They should continuously add more and more difficult spots that we don't even have the gear for and we eventually grow into it. It was like that in the past too, right? Like when Ackman and History was first added. Nobody could grind History and people were group grinding Ackman despite the fact it being solo loot. We had a period of time where it seems like they only focused on mid-range content, PvE content, and everything just felt like a meat grinder. It was kind of boring. Mind you, maybe it largely felt that way to me because, you know, I've been kind of at the bleeding edge of progression for so long now that might be an isolated issue to me. Yeah. Well, the old crypt is you didn't always need accuracy to grind. There was a lot of classes, well, maybe not a lot of classes. There was some classes that had built-in accuracy, didn't need it for there. That's the main reason why that changed, right? Is they ended up normalizing everybody's accuracy, and it ended up being like a pretty big buff for more classes than it was a nerf. Like Stuck Sage, it was a minor nerf, but for most classes, it was a little buff or a big buff. Also, there's more forms of accuracy in the game now, like our Reforges gave us more accuracy. Special deals was bad for inflation. Well, new special deals. I don't know. I can't remember why they removed the old special deals. I guess because the like the central market used to be something that was like in the game. I'm trying to think of a better way to explain it because obviously, like the new centralized market isn't something that's like. It almost feels like it's stored on a separate server. But not quite. I'm trying to think of how to describe it. And I guess because of that, like, separation, the fact that you can access it from, like, a mobile app and everything now, too, like, you don't have to be logged into the game. I guess that separation made it difficult for them to incorporate special deals into it. And they tried to for a while. I can't remember if it's still a thing. But what they ended up having to do after the centralized, the central marketplace was added, and they tried to do special deals, was no longer like the items weren't sold in a special tab on the market. Instead, it basically just sold the item at min price to nothing, just gave everybody 1/5 of the amount of silver or divided by however many people were in the party. And shit like that is actually really bad for inflation. And it's really bad for the members too, right? Because it's always sold at min price. So collectively, you know, over time, everybody makes less than if you actually just got it and sold it. But because it prints raw silver into the economy with the way it was designed, it would drive inflation very heavily. And yeah, I guess they had very little interest in figuring out how to add like the way old special deals was and incorporate into the new, well, into the central market. I don't want to call it new. It's not exactly new, you know? I can't believe all the Travelers maps that I grinded from underwater are now selling at max price. I knew hoarding them forever would pay off. Oh shit, I accidentally just went over the same one. One thing that I think would be super cool, although I guess it would be kind of busted for Shies. Fuck, man, Shies just create so many PvE problems. What I was gonna say was, like, at a spot like this where it's obviously a group spot, they should let you come here solo, and then you get the loot that all 3 people would have been. Like, if you're by yourself, it gives you 3 times the loot. But I guess that poses other problems. Like, what does that mean? Like, if you have, like, obviously Shies are the only class that can grind here because you need Misty Haste to grind here. So that would create a problem there. And then even alternatively, right? Like, what would stop somebody from just, like, duo boxing a Shy that's not in the party? Just have the Shy debuff while they kill on their main, and then they're making so much more money on their main. That would almost make that, like, a mandatory way to play. Fuck, that would... Man. Misty pisses me off. Because something like that would be kind of cool. Where if you could take, like, a spot and do it solo, and it would be more challenging, but it would feel more rewarding for doing it. Buff Shy, you rats. That's it. Yeah. I personally don't think Misty should be applicable in PvE. It just creates too many problems. Make it exclusively a PvP ability. It even has its own issues in PvP, but definitely has massive issues in PvE. Yeah. Oh, it feels weird, right? It's so crazy how much different classes feel with and without Shy buffs. Especially like a class like Sucksage. I'll be honest, Shy buffs are probably the only thing keeping Sucksage relevant in large scale. Oh shit, I just absorbed. There was like no mobs. I was like, oh, golem time. Shy buffs, heroin. It really is. Suck sages stick to shies like they are actual crack dealers. What's that, Kanjara? You had me in the first half, John. I'd say a 5v5 is fine. The shy part? I don't know about that. Shy should be banned from RBF. I think we could all agree. Yeah, with special deals, that was the case. Yeah, everything was individually listed. And how it would work, right, is it would go to the special deals market. I guess I can't really open it up, but there was a special deals tab, and it would go to the specials deals tab, and like in increments, I don't know if it was every 15 minutes or 30 minutes, the price would drop. The price would drop. So people would sit there and, like, when specific items dropped enough, then they would buy them, right? And then the money that was sold for was then split amongst all the party members. Yeah, and everything that sold also had an expiration date. I completely forgot about that. They could also make Shy so the buffs apply higher stats to the party plat than to self. Then that would probably help with Shy's being OP in some spots while keeping them relevant for group. I mean, all they have to do is just pull their own weight damage-wise, right? That's it. And in some spots, Shys definitely do. Like at Olin's, they definitely do just as much damage than everyone else. Plus, they buff everybody. Yeah, my horse died. I didn't park it in a good spot. What am I doing? Chocolate cookie in your hot tea. God damn. Man's living his best life. Nice. That puts it at 30 fragments. 3 more and we're a third of the way there. Wait, where's this thing? Oh, there it is. Yo, sweet. Hick just got back to me. They're fast tracking me to partner. Let's go, baby. I just gotta send them some information later. Thank you, babe. Sweet. Are we planning on doing another hour? I know our witch was sounded like they were falling asleep. You done after this? Okay, cool. "24 hours? Oh my goodness. Hunter Medozin's around. He's the shy that normally likes to run with me. Yeah, this is my 4th set. Then I'll be officially done these things. How funny would that have been if that was an evasion artifact right after saying that? That'd have been a great fucking clip. I think that's it, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Baloo. Yo, thank you very much for the party. I appreciate it. Now I'm gonna eat my lunch. Oops. I don't know why I accidentally permitted Goyojin there. I was looking at my viewer list for a second, and I was like, wait a minute, who is Goyujin? He's a mod in my channel. I don't remember that name, so I was looking through his chat history. Obviously, it's a name change. You there, Goyojin? I feel like that's like class or something. Oh, little Neo, yo, I remember. Yeah. How you doing? You must have took a break from BDO. You coming back? You know what we gonna do? We're gonna do the unspeakable. Ah! Yeah, you never know what's coming out with the ball. And people like to be ready for it, right? That lunch was so fucking good. Where's Trap? Okay, let's back to Ash Forest. Back to Ash Forest. Good for fragments? Well, it's supposed to be about the same per hour, but you make way less money, right? You make like half the money you would at Dolan's. So, it's your only other, like if you're not in a party, it's the only other alternative. If Madozen pops in, I know he said he wanted to do some Olins with me today, so if he ends up popping in, we could recruit him to do some Olins with us. Although when he pops in, he might already have a DPS, so I can't promise you a slot. But if he doesn't, then I'll just ask in chat if you're still around. Oh shit! That's not what I meant to do. You know how those despicable shies are. They play favorites with their DPSs. SMH my head indeed. SMH. I can't wait for the turntables to turn. You got 35 from pre-orders alone? Yeah. Like I said, I already got 2 sets of the DR ones, but I only have 1 set of the evasion ones. But I'm finishing off my last one. I already got 1 for the second set. Just slowly chipping away at it. Hoping to finish it this week. Because there's something I want to try that I'm pretty sure is going to be completely pointless. But from just a completionist standpoint, I just want to do it anyways. Brush our house buff. Man. Every time I look at Justin, it's just in case. He's always in a 5-rounder. That man has so many 5-round matches, it's crazy. Yeah, we're good. We are going to get a full artifact drop right now, chat. You guys ready? I'm certainly ready. Oh my god, there's Medozen. You fucked up your sleep schedule? Hey, guess what? I started streaming like 2 hours later than normal today anyways. We lost to Digi? Yeah, 2 days in a row. I mean, it's expected, right? They're the stronger guild for sure. I like the fact that we just keep running it, though. I personally think there is some people who are just in Pico and Vega to collect bags. And certainly in Digi, too, right? And I think having constant fights between us will help weed those people out if they're not getting bags. I mean, obviously, Digi, if they're winning, they're going to keep getting bags. But for the people in Vega and Pico that are here just trying to collect bags, this is a good way to weed them out, is just running this shit back over and over. Let's find a DPS. We actually already have a DPS. I was just in a party, and our Shy had to leave. I'm pretty sure Spanx is still here, too. So, Witch, we were crushing the golem. So if Spanx is still down, we could go back. You play a shit class, you can't come to no war? Yeah. Just go full DP. Yo, Pone, you would be the best Shy ever. Just think, you could sit there as a Shy full DP setup and just talk your shit. You could be like Mr. Poxcox rocks your shocks with flocks of docks. It doesn't even make any sense. I'm just saying words. The fuck? There's a bug in my house. Little bitch. No, where are you going? There we go. I threw him out the back door. Headed back? Okay, cool. Run Balin 06. We still have a drop off here, Medozen. If you guys don't mind, I'm just going to keep running this until you guys get there, and then I'll just use my telescope to get to you guys. Having a brain fart right now. I can do like another 3 hours of Olins, but in 3 hours from now is time for me to do, I got my Boss Blitz group. Looks like we won't need you this week though, Medozen. What's up, bulls? Mules? Hey, Grimkill. What's cooking? Good looking. We were right across like south of sky. Here, if you just invite me, I could. Yeah. What was it? Spanks. Spanks. How the shards coming along? We are over 30 now. Yeah, it was just northwest of our location. Yeah, right over there. Just waiting on the cooldown on my horse. Oh, I didn't realize there was that right there. We could check water too. Maybe water's open. No, this horse doesn't have two-seater. Oh, it would be hilarious if it did, though. I'm gonna go take a peek at water while we're waiting for Medozin, because I know Shies typically prefer water. Oh yeah, water rotation's open. We could do this now. I'm pretty sure Medozin prefers this spot. Yeah. Oh, it would be hilarious if somebody like I have a really good M.2 drive, and if there was somebody with just like a shitty normal disc drive, and they were on the back of my horse while I was driving them around, yeah, they would be flying through the world. Because their game wouldn't be loading quick enough, but it would still be forcing them through it since I'm driving them through it. We used to experience that shit. Ask Vert way back in the day when I had a really fast T8 horse, and he was still on a hard disk drive. And just think of how much faster this is than a T8. Yeah, I guess I'll, wait, how close is Medozin? Where is he? Oh, I guess he's not in our party. Can't really see. Swapping to B6? Gotcha. Okay. I will change it back to my own setup. And you're ready? Cool. I will do the lantern again. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. It was funny too, because like Vert and I would both stream, so people would be like in both of our streams, and like they would see me running around fine on the horse, but for Vert, like, you know how like with my horse right now, here I could show you guys, right? When I'm moving really fast, I hit these loading walls, right? Where it just stops me. Of course, it's not going to do it right now. It happens more near cities. Of course, now it's not going to fucking do it. Fuck this game. Doesn't help that I'm getting thrown in the air by a bunch of crap on the ground. There he is. He fell on his face. I saw that. Can't even dismount a horse. LMAO. Okay, I'm gonna rebuff my tent. Is that the end? Yo, what is up, Janai? Thank you very much for the raid. Saw you grinding over on the sky rotation on the same channel. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I'm ready when you guys are. Ready, ready. Just waiting on Mr. Mad Max. On the little devil. The little devil child. Ready? Okay. Wire shy is always little devils. Just because I said so. I can't really think of a proper reason aside from that, and I think that's good enough, isn't it? Oh shit, I didn't even see the golem spawn. Nice. Little fragment and an earring in one pack, or one golem, I like it. The heck? I don't know who Suicide it is, no? I don't know whose ult it would be. You want to request a trade with... No? How'd that have to pop up? You assumed it was Kirby? But why wouldn't Kirby be playing on his main account? Oh, I guess I should kill the heart, huh? What is this vid? That's crazy. That's Bong, man. That's the legend. The man, the myth. Bavarian videos. Never heard of them. Was my bug? You want to see my eyelashes? What? When I was still relatively new to streaming and I was streaming PlanetSide 2, there was this one streamer who, I guess he just didn't like how much I outperformed him in-game on PlanetSide 2. Like, for anybody who played PlanetSide 2, there'd be like bases and stuff, right? And during the earlier hours, it'd be pretty quiet. Anyways, whenever I was at a base, I would just stop all of his kill streaks all the time. Anyways, it seemed like he was constantly trying to beef with me or whatever. And at one point, He was like in my stream trying to say that it looked like I was wearing eyeliner. I guess because my eyelashes are so voluptuous that even is a descriptive word for eyelashes. Anyways, you just reminded me of that. I don't even know. My hair might be a mess. Let's see. Oh my god, look at it. Boom. Fixed. There you go. A vivarium is an indoor enclosure for keeping and observing animals and plants. Oh, yeah. There's a channel that used to be Ants Canada, I think it still is, who does a lot of videos on shit like that, and he puts out like a video every Saturday or Sunday, and we used to actually watch that. My kids used to love watching that shit. You're right about Delinkum? Yeah, that's the channel, man. He's the GOAT when it comes to that shit. He doesn't live in Canada anymore. He moved to like Indonesia or somewhere. Thailand. I can't remember. Somewhere more tropical where the cost of living is quite lower, and he's basically living like a king off of his YouTube income now. Yeah, I actually saw that exact video. I haven't actually followed him, like watched any of his videos for like the last probably like 3 months. I guess the kids kind of lost interest and they stopped asking me if his videos were, if he had a new video. Right? Wouldn't that be sweet? That's how I feel like I'm basically doing that with Twitch chat. All of you guys are my little ants, and I'm taking care of you and entertaining you every day. Making sure that you're fed with obnoxious comments and stupid old dad humor. You know what TV series I just finished last night? The first season of them, there's only one season, was Landman. I ended up enjoying that a lot more than I expected to. My wife's never been crazy about Billy Bob Thornton. I've always loved him. But after this, watching this, she's grown on him. Or he's grown on her, sorry. He's great in Fargo. I've never seen that. Maybe I'll have to take a look at that. I love Bad Santa. That movie is like my Christmas classic. My wife likes watching Elf. I like watching Bad Santa. That shit cracks me up every year. Remember, Pone, with great power comes great responsibility. This is how you make a super villain. You give Pone Cox a sword. Uh-oh. What is going on? Pone is out for vengeance. Ray, why are you like this? Why did he ban you for a week in his stream? What were you saying, Pone? What the hell? You always say the weirdest shit. Why are you like this, Bone? Look at you, you're an influencer. Oh, I just realized my text thing is fucked up in this scene. Let me fix it. Boop. Shit, maybe I'll move this up here. Can I move it? Yeah, there we go. Oh, look at you. Thank you, babe. Did you say something? Oh, she just followed you down there. She doesn't need to go back out. She was just outside. She's just following you around. Ah. Yeah, it's probably partially my fault too. I'm jumping all over the place, paying too much attention to my side monitors. But yeah, I'll try to stay behind the pillar a bit better. Then this way everything comes running into us. That's so weird. Wait, what? Oh, I probably have a lot of these seals. I don't know if I've been buying anything with them. Ooh. Grab a maid box, grab the pet. Grab the Marnie fuel. I don't care about that. Grab the Theozords.
Have you ever had a dream that you could know this could you know this could you wanna know this could you could know this could you know this could you wanna know this could you could.
Hello,
Let's see.
Pappy. Did you miss me?
Oh, this song's a banger. This song's a banger. This flute tune. That's how I picture Cowboy wakes up every morning. That's him prancing his way to his computer to start fucking with people online. Oh, chat PvP should definitely not be reportable. What the hell is the purpose of having a block feature? Like, obviously, if somebody's saying some racist shit or something like that, obviously then the GM should step in. But when people are just saying LOL or spamming or whatever, like, just block them. They should, the GM team should have a copy and paste saying, hey, we understand that this person has caused you some discomfort. Stop being a bitch. If you can't handle what they're saying, block them. And then it should have step-by-step instructions on how to block people. But chat banning people just because they said LOL 3 times is kind of hilarious. And I don't think they realize the fact that they police it like as heavily as they do means that people now use it to troll other people. They try to just get people chat banned just for shits and giggles, and it's just creating more work for the GM team. This is the real banger? What's this one? Oh my goodness. What is this? My ears, Jesus. Yeah, interrogate's just a filler. Holy fuck. Grief cheer, yeah. Oh man. What's that prep for? For the Heidel ball. And whatever it brings. Yeah, if it's good enough. Or who knows what else they add. I mean, I don't know what they're going to add yet, right? So I can't really say what it's for until I know what they're going to add, but... Yep. No, most of endgame progression is swiping, or sorry, grinding. Most people are using vendor crons and have been for a while. And vendor crons are just an extension of silver. If they legit just got rid of crons completely and just made it so you used silver to click, people would it would change absolutely nothing, but all of a sudden people wouldn't be like, oh, this is Cron Desert Online. Crons are just an extension of silver. Like if instead of taking 4,000 crons to click for Pen Fallen God, it took 12 billion silver, it would be the exact same thing as vendor crons. But all of a sudden people wouldn't feel so angry at crons. The only thing that's worth being angry about crons is the price deficit between vendor and costume crons. That's the real problem, but people misdirect their anger for it. Everybody has this weird feeling like everybody else is using costume crons, but they have to use vendor crons, and they don't realize that 99% of the people out there are all using vendor crons. I've managed to get maybe 5 this week, and this has been like the craziest week in a long time because of the sales. I probably got 5 in the last, aside from last week, like 5 in the month before that. Yeah, but most people don't play as much as you and I do too, either, Williams. Ooh, 2 quick Decio fragments. Me lucky. I don't think that's an issue at all. If anything, I think that's a very good thing. The thing is, if Karazad was sellable, then they would be heavily subjected to supply and demand, and you could have a situation like we saw with accuracy accessories, where overnight they practically overnight they lost like 80% of their value, and people who have grinded up, you know, half a trillion or a trillion silver to get full accuracy accessories lost like half a trillion silver or more worth of value. That shit is demoralizing. I like that Karazad and Sovereign aren't sellable, and that they are primarily cron driven because it helps secure your investment that you put into them. There will always be a gradual diminishing of your effort you put into the game, but like that was unprecedented. It was completely demoralizing to a large portion of the player base who lost such a tremendous amount of silver when they added the precision hammers and made added the pity system. It just made getting pen debos so much easier, and just accuracy accessories just absolutely got annihilated. I don't think you're ever too late. It certainly would have benefited to be earlier for sure. The nice thing about Karazad and Sovereign, though, is you don't have to worry about, you know, them adding something new and then immediately, like, all of that shit just going to complete hell. It's going to be a very clear upgrade path from here, where if they add an upgrade to Karazad, you're just going to exchange your deck of Karazad, probably start at like an Oct or Nov or whatever of the new accessories, and you'll be able to continue on. You're not just going to immediately lose all your value. And yeah, I think it's going to make sense to, like, for them to just do the same thing with the armors as well. That's obviously going to be next down the line. But, like, think about that, right? The amount of money, like, a lot of accuracy accessories were, like, what, 200? Were any of them 300 bill? I don't think they were quite 300 bill, but let's just go with 200 bill, right? 6 accessories, 200 bill a pop. So 1.2 trillion silver worth of accuracy accessories some people had, because I'm pretty sure damn near every single one of them were max price. And back then, too, like, people were only grinding, like, a billion and a half an hour. So, like, think of how much time that you had to invest into getting those accessories. And then you take a 1 month break from the game, and you just happen to miss when they introduce it, making it a lot easier to enhance debos, and then you come back a month later, and your 1.2 trillion investment is now worth 400 bill? It's like 800 hours of grinding that just got chucked out the window. That is so bad for player mental. There's probably a lot of people who never came back to the game that might have considered it, but then they came back and saw all of that and they're like, all their accessories so much cheaper, and they're like, you know what? Maybe not. I don't feel like doing that grind over again. Because they basically have to do that grind over again to get full pen debos just to start working on decks, right? At one point, their build was considered in-game. Now they have to redo the grind all over again just to start working on in-game. Yeah. The thing is debos were like this really, really, really exclusive item for like, they were hard to get. They felt so much more impactful to enhance, but some people just didn't want to do that grind, so they're like, you know what, I'm going to go for the accuracy ones, which were really good too. The biggest issue with accuracy at the time, though, is like you were gimping yourself in PvE just to be super effective in PvP, right? Yeah. There are some people who made out like bandits, too. There were some people who, when they took a break from the game, they sold all their accuracy accessories, and then they came back and they're basically able to buy full pen debos. There were some people who got super lucky with that. They're able to buy full pen debos and have silver left over. But yeah, that's so like that is a problem though, right? Because Karazad and Sovereign aren't sellable, there just isn't enough things that whales need silver for. They basically just need it for their gin crystals, right? So because of that, there isn't really a lot of reasons for the whales to sell costumes. If they're going to buy costumes with real money, they're going to just use them to click their Karazad and Sovereigns. So I don't think the issue is that Karazad is unsellable. I think the main issue is there isn't just enough stuff for whales to use silver on. I've just been living my video life 11.7 bill at a time. What is that, a deck click? I'm trying to think of what's 11.7 bill. It's crazy to think that I have enough to pity my awakened weapon right now. Or my main hand. Honestly, by the time the ball comes, I could probably pity both my offhand and my main hand. Although, I hope I don't. Huh. Oh, yeah. I thought for sure Tayback was going to bounce back. I bought it when it was significantly lower. I bought it at like 40, 50 bill. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Maybe they'll incorporate a gem or something that... you know, this will be a fun gem to put in your gear. Like the same way they did with the accessories, right? You got the BSR gems. I thought they would add like a Tayback gem and an Acidel gem and all that. But they didn't. So I ended up taking a bit of a hit with the Tayback. I think I lost like 10 bill when I sold it. What a classic video, isn't it? Bong was the GOAT. Yeah. That's what I was hoping, right? Is that they would do that with Tayback. It's a cool item. It's a super cool item. You sacrifice some stats all the time, but you'll end up having like a giga buff once in a while. Like, I think that's a really cool idea. I wish they would do more things like that. Might be able to do. That might look kind of cool. Let me try something. And let's see. I've never tried doing this before. Where the fuck is it? There it is. Add a color source. Make it like a... like that. Just put it behind there for a second. Let's see.